Well, today we're diving into the truly groundbreaking work of Harvard psychologist Ellen Langer, who proves exactly that. Own mind has a shocking amount of power over your physical health that can change the limits of what you think is even possible.
Let me ask you something. Think about your days so far. How much of it have you spent truly present versus just, going through the motions? Are you really there for the little moments of your life?
Professor Langer tells this perfect little story about this. She was at a store and her credit card wasn't signed. So the cashier, doing her job, asks her to sign it. She does. Right then, the machine spits out the little receipt slip, and the cashier asks her to sign that too. And then, the cashier takes both signatures, the one on the card and the one on the slip, made literally seconds apart, right in front of her eyes, and she carefully compares them. That state of being, where we're just acting without really thinking, that's exactly what Langer's research is all about. She calls it the autopilot trap, or even more simply, mindlessness.
And here's the real kicker. When you're on autopilot, you're not even aware you're on autopilot. You're just gone. It's this invisible state, which, you can imagine, makes it incredibly hard to just snap out of it.
Langer's argument is that this state of not being present, it's the root cause of nearly all our problems. We're talking everything from psychological stress to actual physical ailments. It's a huge claim, for sure, but her research is designed to back it up.
So if being mindless is the problem, what's the solution? It's mindfulness. Langer's take on it is so much simpler and more direct. Mindfulness, in her world, is just the active process of noticing new things. Noticing new things about where you are, what you're doing, the people you're with. It's all about engaging with the here and now.
So let's put them side by side. Mindlessness is that automatic pilot. It's driven by your past experiences and a set of rigid rules that totally govern what you do. But mindfulness, that's being focused on the present. You're actively noticing what's new and different, and you let rules guide you instead of control you. It's a huge difference.
So we have this cool theory, but does it actually do anything in the real world? Let's get into the science, because the evidence for how a simple mindful shift can change our physical reality.
And this brings us to one of Langer's most incredible experiments, the chambermaid study. The main question was really simple. Could just believing that what you're doing is good for you actually produce physical health benefits?
The researchers went to a bunch of hotels and split the chambermaids into two groups. One group, they sat them down and just explained how their daily work, making beds, pushing heavy carts, vacuuming, was basically the same as getting a good workout. The other group, they were told nothing at all. And this is the key. Neither group changed a single thing about their behavior. After only 1 month, the group that was simply told their work was exercise, they lost weight, they had a lower waist-to-hip ratio, and they showed a big drop in blood pressure. The only thing that changed was their perception of what they were already doing.
But the power of mindset doesn't stop there, not even close. Langer then turned her attention to our vision. She makes this great point that the standard eye chart, with the letters that get smaller and smaller, is basically setting us up for failure. It's sending a message to your brain that says, get ready, you're about to fail. So what did they do? They just flipped the script. They reversed the chart. So the letters got bigger as you went down. This completely changed the expectation from, I'm going to fail soon, to, this is getting easier. And because of that, people were suddenly able to read letters that, on a standard chart, they couldn't see just moments before. Their physical ability changed because the psychological cue was different.
And they took this even further with another brilliant study. They had people take a standard eye test. Then, they had them put on Air Force pilot uniforms and sit in a flight simulator. They were primed to adopt the mindset of a pilot, and pilots, of course, have excellent vision. When they took the eye test again, you guessed it, their vision had measurably improved.
But the most dramatic, the most mind-bending demonstration of this mind-body connection is Langer's most famous experiment. It's a study so radical it's literally being made into a movie. It's called the counterclockwise study.
Okay, so get this. They took a group of men in their 80s to a retreat that was meticulously designed to look, feel, and sound like it was 20 years earlier. We're talking old music, old TV shows. For 1 whole week, they were told to live as if they were their younger selves, even speaking about past events in the present tense.
After just 1 week of living with a younger mindset, these men showed significant, measurable physical improvements. It wasn't just 1 or 2 things, it was across the board. Better hearing, better memory, more strength, better joint flexibility, even their vision improved. They physically became younger. And here's the final incredible piece of evidence. They took photos before and after the retreat, and when they showed these photos to people who knew nothing about the study, they consistently rated the after photos as looking significantly younger. The change wasn't just internal, it was literally visible on their faces.
Studies are more than just cool stories. They really point to a fundamental rethinking of our own potential and our own limits.
Think about it. We tend to hear about a scientific finding and we just accept it as absolute truth, right? As a hard limit. But Langer's work suggests we should see these things as probabilities, not certainties. So many of the limits we place on ourselves, especially when it comes to our health and aging, are just products of our own mindsets.
So here is the crucial distinction to make. Science can never actually prove something is uncontrollable. All it can say is that, so far, it's undetermined. When you believe something is impossible, you close the door. You don't even try. But when you believe it's just undetermined, well, that opens the door to trying. And as we've just seen, that mindful act of trying is unbelievably powerful. And the best part is, you don't need a time-traveling retreat to use this. The real magic is in making small, subtle, mindful shifts every single day. In the words you use, in the expectations you hold for yourself, and in the way you simply notice the world around you. This is how we fight back against mindlessness and start to reclaim our own health and vitality.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What limits have you accepted as solid fact in your own life? And what might happen if you started to see them not as uncontrollable, but just undetermined?
Thank you for watching the video. If you like the content we make, press like and subscribe to our channel.